Get the comfy chair!
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Old with your host, Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hello there.
Right, so we've gone back to an old format, which is a comfy chair episode. We have been integrating the comfy chair, but it feels a bit bitty, and we don't get into it so much. So we've gone back to the old format, right? Occasionally, once every 5 weeks or so, or whatever it is, we're going to be doing an episode of just comfy chair stuff. It'd be easier to sort of put together, and the show notes will be simpler on the other episodes, so that's fine. That's fine. All right. We discussed off here. We both got how many we got. So do you mind if I go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Well, as I usually do, we usually do. I picked something a bit odd or weird or bad for the first one. This one's distinctly odd. I quite liked it. It's got bad elements, but overall I quite enjoyed this film. It's a crazy 80s film. It's called Biggles Adventure in Time. Ever heard of this one? Ever seen it?
I know what Biggles is.
You know what Biggles is?
Who Biggles is? Like the World War fighter pilot. Right?
Yeah, World War One ace, right? British World War One ace. He very famous series of books, and apparently with the success, get this, I think it was with the success of the Blue Max, which was a World War One fighter race film from the late 60s. Was a script in development for quite some time. However, it got to the 80s, a lot of cocaine or whatever was consumed, and they came up with this concoction, which is basically Biggles, but somehow he's got a time twin who is in the 80s, and they keep slipping backwards and forwards into each other's timelines. And Peter Cushing's involved, and it was his last film. It was his last film.
Wow.
And he was like a group captain of Biggles, so he knew Biggles back in the war, right? That's what we're talking about. And his so-called time twin is this American guy, right? So a lot of the acting and casting is quite appalling, and it's very 80s. I mean, there's shit hills in offices, all that business, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of what the fuck about this film, because it slips from World War One serious stuff, and I have to say the Germans in are proper pantomime villains. For you, the fight is over. There's all that going on, right? Yeah. But also they know Biggles, right? They know. Basically, somehow he flies in undercover at night, lands on an untested thing, so they know it must be Biggles because only he could do that, right? Also, all Biggles' chums are there, and there's like Ginger and I don't know Charlie. I can't remember their name. They're all there, all British actors. Okay, the downside is there's some appalling acting. The music is weird as hell. It doesn't, well, it shouldn't fit, but it kind of works. It's kind of, they just pick weird synth disco music to go with everything. A bit like Halt the Slayer, right? That works, and it shouldn't, right? However, the guy playing Biggles is really good. If they made a proper Biggles film with him in the lead, it would have been awesome, right? And he is good in this. And there's a bit at the end where essentially an 80s like a police or military helicopter, which Biggles figures out how to fly. And how he does that is, you can't fly this thing. He goes, if you can fly a Sopwith Camel, you can fly anything, is the response. And then he immediately starts flying it. But somehow that gets taken back onto battlefields of World War One. So we get a military-grade 80s helicopter fighting with biplanes, German biplanes. It's awesome. It's awesome. So, yeah, it's a mad film, but I'm really glad I did watch it, like, I don't know, on video, I think. I don't think I went to see it at the cinema, probably very early 90s or even late 80s, because it came out in, I think, 86. And it was nuts. They obviously did not want to know what to do with this property and just foisted this weird time thing in so there could be a bit of 80s, and all the American cast were terrible. pretty
Well,
much.
there was like a whole era of that sort of film. So you had like
Yeah,
Biggles, you had Hercules in New York, you had like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm fairly certain Hulk Hogan was in at least three of
yeah,
those.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the guy playing Biggles, I think this probably wrecked his film career, which is a real shame because he was terrific. I mean, you couldn't have cast a better Biggles. It was that good,
Mm.
right? It's a bit like Arnie being Conan. You can't get a better Conan, right? It's just that's how it's going to be. This
Mm.
guy was that Biggles. So Biggles Adventure in
Okay.
Time, some weird cocaine fueled nightmare. But I was very entertained. It didn't do well at the box office. It's always had bad reviews, but I quite enjoyed it. The music choices were utterly bizarre though. There was like a disco song, I think the new wave disco song over the battlefield with a hello talking about a girl singing about a girl. It's so weird. It had nothing to do with what was going on. The lyrics. Anyway, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So yes, Biggles.
But
Okay, back to you.
okay, so my first one is it's an odd one. Now this is going to require a bit of prefacing, but do you know about The Asylum, the film company?
The film company that makes rip-offs like
Yeah,
Transmorphers and stuff.
Transmorphers. They also make Atlantic Rim. They made the Mega
Triassic
Shark
Park.
versus yeah. So I watched a film called Android Cop, made by The
Okay,
Asylum.
okay.
So it's a weird sort of version of the 2014 RoboCop movie, except the budget is about maybe £5. Like they're trying to like portray it as like, oh, there's the sealed off parts where it's a wild wasteland. It's the same street. Like it's the
Yeah,
same street that
yeah,
they're
yeah.
on.
Wow.
But it stars Michael J. White,
Yeah, it was always
who's like,
terrific. Always terrific, right? Michael J.
yeah,
Yeah.
like puts 110% effort into everything, and really should be in more better movies. So, but yeah, he plays a human cop. Well, it seems like he's a human cop at first, but he gets partnered with a robot called Andy,
Andy, right?
uh,
Okay.
and who's this weird like. Okay, the premise is that Michael J. White's character and Andy have to try and find the mayor's daughter, who has been sort of remotely controlling a robot body, and in the process of that is an occurrence apparently in the setting is you can basically forget that you are not that robot, so you
Right.
just sort of wander off and take on the life that you've pretended to have. So they need to find the mayor's daughter because if they just unplug her from this machine, it's a bit Matrix, so you'll just die. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, it spirals off of that. I don't want to spoil it because it actually had a pretty good twist. Uh,
Well,
so,
some
but
of the stuff you described sounds quite interesting, I'd
yeah,
say.
you'd think that, but again, that budget of £5 really does hinder a lot of what I described. So
Okay.
our robot cop is just a guy in most of a Starship Troopers like infantryman outfit. So
Okay, okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
but yeah,
Okay,
it's fun.
you know what?
Do
Some of the
yeah.
ideas behind it sound quite good. I watched
Mm.
recently an episode of an anthology show and covered it on my anthology as well, right? Of a show called Metal Hurlant Chronicles, which is heavy metal, right? It's
Okay.
you know the film's heavy metal,
Yeah.
the comic magazine thing. Metal Hurlant. That heavy metal originally started in France, and it was Metal Hurlant, right? It's
Mm.
not an American thing; it's a French thing. Just the Americans loved it. And Michael J. White was in it fighting Scott Adkins in an
Oh,
arena
okay.
fight. That was the first episode. And each episode's a different story. It's only 25 minutes. I'll show you it. If you're ever around, it's worth throwing on and have a look. It's
Mm.
really interesting. And Michael J. White's really good in it as well. And it's worth a look. It's just a weird Franco-Swiss sci-fi production, but in English, right? So, yeah, it was
Whenabouts was it?
2010s, I think.
Okay.
But at the time this film was made, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, this sounds all right. Were you entertained?
Yeah, I was entertained. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I say, it's a lot of it's funny because it's like again, there is no budget. The guy playing Andy can't really act, but he's trying to be a robot, so yeah.
Oh,
None
okay.
of the
I
side
imagined
characters
a
can
full
act really well.
robot. I see. So
No, no.
when you
Like
said
I said,
Andy,
it's a guy in like some armor, but it does not look like a robot. So
Mm, okay, all
yeah,
right, all right, all right.
yeah.
Um, okay. My next one is I
Mm,
watched this because it relates to a movie that's came out in the cinema, which I was going to go to, but I
mm,
didn't in the end. And I rewatched. I think it's 2000 and what? I don't know. 28 days later. 28 days later. I rewatched 28 days later. It's on the iPlayer at the minute, on the BBC iPlayer.
mm,
So I gave it a watch. Now, this film, I always really liked the first half and never liked the second as much because it felt like a slightly weaker retread of the a more classic zombie film, which is Day of the Dead, George Romero's Day of the Dead, which involves military guys getting pissed off, and working with scientists but not being happy, all that sort of tension. And there's a bit of that in this. And yeah, I think it's still the case. The first half is really intense and it gets a little weaker in the second half, but I'd say the disparity isn't quite as big as I thought it was. There's some amazing shots at the beginning, wandering through an empty London with overturned buses and stuff like that. It starts very much like Day of the Triffids, right? Just a guy waking up in a hospital bed, and
yeah,
everyone. And then The Walking Dead start exactly the same way as well.
yeah.
So it's kind of getting to be a trope. But yeah, these are scarier. They're not zombies; they're infected rage monsters, basically. But
Hmm.
they're effectively they're brainless and they're just violent and want to kill you, basically. And they run really fast, so you got to outrun them.
Hmm.
Have you seen it?
No, I've never seen any
Okay,
of the
Christopher Eccleston's in it as like the head of the military, the most senior officer. In fact, the only
Hmm.
officer actually, because he's basically got a squad of about I don't know 10 grunts,
Hmm.
and they've been setting out alerts for people to join them. But in fact, all they've got is they've found like a stately home and mined the fields around it, and but like there's no proper. They're doing it under their own steam. They're not
Hmm.
under any, government's gone, mate. And the premise is, I think probably Britain is just cut off because he's got this virus. The rest of the world just
Yeah.
leave it be, right? Yeah, and it's called 28 Days Later because the guy has an accident and wakes up 28 days later, right? That's the
Hmm.
premise for that. And then there's him in London dealing with meeting up with people that are still alive and all this. And it's got a great cast. It's old Cillian Murphy. Um,
Yeah.
he's the lead. He's very good, very good. But
Yeah, just about the only
it's
thing
a
I know
pretty
about the
solid.
film is that Killian Murphy is
Yeah, and
in
there's
it.
a few weak actors, but mostly it's very, very solid. The only thing is, it was shot on digital. It's meant to be, slightly grainy, but that hasn't aged it so well. It just looks a bit cheap,
Hmm.
in some respects. But well directed. Yeah, it's a shame it couldn't be polished up a bit. On film, it would have aged better,
Hmm.
because the digital tech wasn't as good as, maybe 5 years after this. This is one. I think this might have been the first mainstream movie that was shot on digital entirely. I think.
Okay.
I think. I'm not sure how Star Wars sits in all that because it might have been that was just the Phantom Menace and that. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
But this looks really good. I mean, Star Wars doesn't look grainy, right? I mean, Phantom Menace doesn't look grainy. It might have other flaws, but it doesn't look grainy. But this, yeah, really exciting and interesting. And enjoyed rewatching this. And as I say, it's on the iPlayer. Probably still is if anyone in the UK wants to watch this.
Hmm.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Back to you.
Okay, so my next one is bad. So my friends, recently where I live, there's been like a lot of sort of amateur, sort of theatrical stuff going on. Some of my friends went to see Cats, and I said, "Have you ever seen the movie?" And they said, "No."
Blech.
So I was like, "Boy, am I going to spoil the stage show for you?"
Yeah.
So yeah, we watched Cats. It's still horrifying.
Oh,
It's
it's
still
awful.
viscerally unpleasant, But now some of my friends who previously watched it with me were just sitting there like, "Where's this song?" So I was like, "Where's this song? Where's Moments of Happiness? Where's
Yeah.
this other song as well?" It's like this is just so unpleasant, like to just
It's just
experience.
wrong. It's just wrong. It's like I still get freaked out by the whole thing. Honestly, it just
Yeah.
Judy Dench can't sing. She can act, but she can't
Yeah,
sing.
she has
Right?
to just kind of speak her. They really should have put Ian McKellen in the old Deuteronomy role.
What I like about Ian McKellen is he acts really goofy for a lot of it, and you think, why is Ian
Yeah,
McKellen acting so terribly? But then he gets a
but
chance to monologue a little, and he totally commands it, right?
yeah,
And it's the only decent bit in the whole film, I think.
yeah. But
Um,
see, my friends did like there's one that's what's the Railway Cat, where basically because it's the only bit that's like the show where they're just like, and there's this cat, sing a song, done, and then you don't
yeah,
really address them anymore. They're
yeah.
like, yeah, that's good. We had like a bit of like theater of the mind where they do like a dance and it's on the railway tracks, then it's in a carriage, but then it's back at the abandoned theater. I think it was that they were at,
Yeah,
that the
Abandoned
film was at.
Theatre. The weirdest
Yeah.
one, there is one number I quite enjoy, but it is mental, which is the Rebel
Mm.
Wilson one. Uh,
Oh, that was awful.
with the mice.
Yeah, with the
I
horrid
find it
mice and CG cockroaches.
the,
Ugh.
it always perplexes me because she literally takes off her
She takes
fur,
off her skin,
which
and there's a
means she's
coat.
wearing the skin of another cat,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Didn't even think about that. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so mad. And Ray
Ugh.
Winston is just so awful.
Ray Winston shows up for all of 2 seconds,
Yeah.
and just kind of goes, "I'm growl time," and then that's that. And my friends were telling me like, "Oh, in the show, the character that Ian McKellen plays has a song about how he played a different cat, and that's Growl Tiger." That's
Yeah.
like, well, what was why was he here?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Idris Elba looking strangely more naked than I think if he ever did a nude scene when he like
It's
unrobes his
weird.
McCavity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Strange.
It is a strange one. The thing is, the stage production's fine, right? It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a set of pleasant songs, quite entertaining song and dance show, right? But this
Hmm.
film, it's like they made every decision was a wrong one. Every
Hmm.
single decision was a wrong one.
And it's like just reading about anything about the production of it is incredible because the cats aren't motion captured; they're rotoscoped.
Right. Okay.
That which is like an insanely bad decision.
Yeah.
Apparently the director didn't want to like re-record audio, so all the singing had to be done on the spot, and then the music was rewritten around that.
Wow.
It's
What? I mean,
insane.
that's the sort of decision making I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
oh, it was so poor. Jennifer Hudson, I mean, she's a good singer, but I don't know. They just messed up memory, and I don't know, man. It's
See, I
like,
was okay with the actual song there. Like she
yeah,
could
but
sing this,
but
ignoring some
doesn't
of
she
the other.
have like a snotty nose all the way through it as
Well,
well?
again, my friends were saying like, "Oh, she's supposed to be like ragged," but this is just Jennifer
Yeah,
Hudson.
yeah.
Like
It's
she
supposed to
looks
be an
great.
old, broken
She's
down
supposed to be
cat.
like
Yeah.
old and nasty and like ugh to look at.
Yes.
So like her having a snotty nose, yeah, that's within the realm of it.
Yeah.
But like she just looks like Jennifer Hudson with a snotty nose.
Yeah, yeah, it's appalling, this film. I mean, I
Mm.
cannot believe it's 6 years old.
Yeah, there's
Um,
that thing as well. You see the shock of time go past.
yeah, I mean, oh god, it was bad. Went to see this at the cinema.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Cats. I don't think we're gonna top that. I'm thinking we should just
No.
finish the show it. All right, let's go on. Okay,
Let's.
next one is actually the sequel to 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later.
Okay.
So obviously set quite some time after the original film. Basically, England's a kind of Britain's a wasteland, but there is a safe zone. The American army have come in as not peacekeepers, but a peacekeeping force, and they've set up a safe zone in part of London.
Hmm.
But this guy, it starts with Robert Carlyle, who's a great actor. It starts
Okay.
with him basically, he could save his wife at significant risk, and he chooses not to when they're attacked. He just leaves, right? But then he tells
Okay.
his kids she died and there was nothing he could do,
Hmm.
right? Nah, bit of spoilers, but it is like 20 years old, this film. Um, but then he gets his kids who were on holiday overseas when it all kicked off. They finally returned home because he's back in London, and
Hmm.
he's a caretaker of a building. He's got a job and he's got a decent apartment. Everyone's got a decent apartment because there's so much room now, right?
Yeah.
Basically, but the Americans are overseeing anything. And oh, what's his name? Jeremy Renner is in it. Rosie Byrne's in it. As American, well, he's like a sniper, and she's like a military scientist, so she's looking into the thing. However, the wife
Okay.
does turn up with a
Oh,
bite
okay.
mark, but she doesn't have any symptoms other than she's a bit disoriented, right? Because
Hmm.
that gets discovered because the kids decide they want to go back to their home and break out of the compound.
Hmm.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Um, but it turns out she's got some immunity. So she's a carrier, but she hasn't got,
Okay.
she's asymptomatic. Uh, well, do I need to say more?
Yeah. Everything goes bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything goes bad. The kids also find out their dad lied to them about, their mum and all this,
Yeah.
that, and the other. And basically his guilt is what, about leaving her behind and dealing with it. And when he goes and sees her, kind of
Hmm.
causes it all to spiral out of control. So yeah, it's quite a nihilistic film. It's okay. It's not as good as the first one, but it's pretty decent. It's 7 out. I like Jeremy Renner's really good in it, and we don't see that much of Jeremy Renner these days. But yeah, I liked him. He always makes me think he could play a brother of Daniel Craig or something. They look kind of
Okay.
similar in some ways. But yeah, it's quite a decent film. And obviously I was setting up to go see 28 Years Later, which came out, but I've missed it now. It's been and gone, but I will catch it once it's on streaming or available. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's okay. 28 Weeks Later is okay, but not as good as the first one. But I'm
Yeah.
interested to see 28 Years Later. I hear some really wacky stuff in it. 28 Years Later is Danny Boyle again. He didn't direct the second one. He directed the 28 Days Later. Didn't direct the second one. I don't think he was really involved in the second one that much.
Okay. Yeah.
But he returned and did this 28 Years Later. So, things have really moved on. It's a bit like Mad Max
Yeah.
2, Mad Max 3, I guess. Things have
Yeah.
moved on so much, everything's changed, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, back to you.
Okay. So my next one is True Lies, the James Cameron film.
Ah, man, I bought this. You told me about this, and weirdly, I had bought it like 2 weeks before because I never
Yeah.
put it on telly because there's some slightly troubling stuff in it.
Well, not slightly. Like
Well,
this is
okay.
a.
Well, you can
Uh,
talk about that.
yeah.
But
Okay.
I enjoy quite a significant parts of this film, and I felt that it was the film he made just before Titanic, wasn't it? Or
I
he
think
made it
so. Yeah.
after Terminator 2, before Titanic, if I remember
Yeah.
rightly. But
Yeah.
yeah, Arnie's pretty good in this, as is Jamie Lee
Yeah.
Curtis. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the premise is basically Arnold Schwarzenegger is an undercover spy, and his family don't know. So there's a lot of like tension at their house. So that yeah, basically his wife might be cheating on him. Their daughter ignores them. And he still has to fight against these members of a organization called the Crimson Jihad.
Yes, that's
This,
it. That's the one.
like,
Yeah, yeah. There you
okay,
go.
but yeah, the film starts with a good spy, like sort of spying sequence where so we watched it with the subtitles on, just
Right.
because it was quite loud at the time. Like I say, there was lots of Black Amateur performance things going on, and in a nearby castle there was a like a concert going on, so we could
Okay.
kind of hear that in the background. So
Oh,
we just
blimey.
put the thing. But the subtitles make a weird specification when he's speaking in Arabic to one of the terrorists who's also like at this meeting thing.
Yeah.
Uh, where it just specifies that he's speaking in perfect Arabic, just in brackets above his lines.
Perfect Arabic.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Arnie,
yeah,
perfect Arabic. Right. Okay.
yeah. But
He can't speak
basically,
perfect English, but he can speak perfect.
yeah. So there's probably one of the best motorcycle chases on cinema, and it also includes a horse, uh, and several up and down escalator sequences.
I'm gonna have to
And it's
rewatch this because I'd
yeah,
forgotten a lot of this.
and it's really good. And
Uh,
then there's just a 50-minute sequence where Schwarzenegger's character just spies on his wife because he thinks she's cheating on him, and it turns out not. She's carrying on an emotional affair, but the guy that she's doing it with is trying to push for her to sleep with him, but
yeah.
she's not. So he kind of goes very V for Vendetta and kidnaps her and pretends that like she's been caught by like a terrorist agency,
Yeah,
and
weird,
just
isn't it?
keeps interrogating her. And like she's in a room with like padded walls, and he makes her do a sexy dance for him, but she doesn't know it's him. He's sitting in the darkness. She thinks she's infiltrating a drug lord's like
Right. Wow.
as a prostitute. And it's like, this is horrifying.
Yeah, it's
This
bad,
is
isn't
just
it?
horrifying. 50 minutes of this. Just going on and on. And then
Yeah.
your actual terrorists show back up. It's like, okay, the film can carry on.
In some respects, it feels like an 80s film still, doesn't it? Because it's
Yeah.
so mad. It's so mad in places.
Yeah.
And that kind of energy is an 80s energy, isn't it? For movies
Yeah.
and other. But yeah, I quite enjoyed the film though. I think I remember it, and I just of a vague memory, I'd give it like a 4 out of 5. I think.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed it. It's not up to T2, say, or Aliens in terms of his filmography,
Yeah.
but I much prefer it to say Titanic and Avatar. Much
Mm.
prefer it. Yeah. Okay, cool. I've got to watch it. I've got to watch this film. Okay. My next one
Yeah.
is the TV series. I'm for United Nations Horror Podcast. We've been working through the Chucky movies, right?
Mhm.
And in fact, what I'm about to talk about, we're recorded on Monday in much more detail. So if you're really interested in what I'm about to talk about, you can go and listen to that as well. However, I watched season 1 of Chucky. There's a TV show. Did you know this?
Yeah, I heard about the TV show. I've seen some clips from it.
And I watched season 1, and I will be
Okay.
continuing to watch. Now it starts a little weak. The characters are a bit
Yeah.
milk toast. The first couple of episodes. The only good bit about the first couple of episodes is Chucky. Chucky's around. He's being an arsehole because he's Chucky. But
Yeah.
instead of killing these kids, he's trying to like make them basically manipulate them. But the kids involved are a little. It's almost like a weaker version of Stranger Things, kinda. Yeah, you're just not feeling it. I didn't feel it. However,
Yeah.
the more the more it goes on, it gets better and better with each episode.
Okay.
And
That's
by
good.
episode 5, it's really changed gear and it's really intense, right? And
Okay.
Chucky's creating absolute mayhem. And I should mention this. Chucky isn't just Chucky. Chucky has figured out how to transfer himself into others. So there's several Chuckies, and there's also
Okay.
possessed one character who's from the movies. So they really link heavily into the entire movie franchise made up until this point. Nothing to do with the Chucky reboot in 2019, I think it was.
Yeah.
But Chucky and Jennifer Telly's in it. She turns up as Tiffany, and the character who was called Nika in the movies, she's in it. And then Andy, a grown-up Andy from Chucky 1, who was also in the later films, and another actress who was in, I think, 2 onwards, whose character was called Carl. She turns up. Basically, it's mad. It's bonkers. It is insane. The final episode is like, about 3 times I went, whoa, because I couldn't believe they went there, right? But basically, what it is Chucky has to basically corrupt a young person to do some more voodoo magic that he wants to do, right? So that's his rationale for not killing the youngsters, but he's not letting it go on like everyone else. And I do love the fact each episode starts with a recap, and it's like a voice of a little girl, about a 7-year-old girl. And she goes, "Last week on fucking Chucky." It's just funny, right? It's just funny. Brad Dourif is off the hook. Jennifer Tilly is even more mental than Brad Dourif, and so it goes. I really enjoyed this, and I will be watching because there are only 8 episodes each season.
Okay. Yeah.
And in fact, at one point in a recap towards the end of, I think, part of the last episode. No, this isn't a spoiler. We just see Chucky in an armchair, like telling a story. You know, like Chuck and Nori kind of thing. Saying,
Yeah.
I bet you're wondering what happened here. You know, it's like, oh man, I did enjoy it. It's a shame it's so kind of weak the first couple of episodes. But yeah, it gets, and like I say, I'll be talking about this way more.
Yeah, like I say, I've seen a couple of clips of this, and there's like a lot of stuff that was kind of a punchline in older Chucky films. That's kind of just normal stuff like now, and it's like him talking about his kid. And it's like, oh yeah, well, I've got a we call him gender neutral now, but we didn't call him this back in the day.
Yeah.
Glenn. And it's like, oh yeah, that's a thing I know from the films. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. But looking at the cast list, and unintentionally I looked at the cast list. Sorry, not intentionally I looked at the cast list, but the cast included the cast of all 3 seasons rather than the first season, which has let me know, this character is going to come into it as well. And I haven't seen him in season 1, so I kind of it let me know things are going to happen that it's going to keep going. I will say there's a female an actress in the young cast who elevates it. Her character's name's Lexi. She's really good. The problem is the rest of the cast around her, I feel, are a bit milquetoast. And it's Chucky and Tiffany and their mayhem that really powers this for me.
Yeah.
So really enjoyed this. Anyway, back to you.
Okay, so my next one is actually a new Netflix movie that's come out called K-pop Demon Hunters. The premise is it's a very sort of Totally Spies sort of energy to it. It's a film about an hour and a half long. The premise is that there's these three girls who are hunters, but they're also one of the top K-pop bands in Korea. This is part of a legacy of demon hunters that are also performers, because part of their job is to maintain the barrier between the demon world and the real world, and they do that through inspiring people through song. And them being K-pop stars and having millions upon millions of fans now has made it quite strong, to the point where it's going to tip over to a point where it can't be broken, which is what our main characters are working towards. And the film is basically about an instance where a demon boy band starts coming into the fray, and so it's a lot of conflicts involving that. So there's our Demon Hunters as a K-pop band, and then our demon boy band called the Saja Boys. Now, the one thing I'd point out, first off, it's really well animated. It's made by Sony Animation, so the Spider-Verse guys. It's really, really well animated. Secondly, there's that thing of whenever they do something, whenever there's like a piece of media that's like this, where it's like, oh, I've got to write the best song, or this, like anything like that, and it's always bit meh, but good within the context of the film. While they they have that in this, except they've proven to be the exception to the rule, because all the songs from this are topping charts. So
wow, yeah. How about that? It looks kind of fun. I look at some of the images, but I mean the premise is nuts. Yeah, the premise is nuts.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Right. Okay, back to me. Okay, my next one. I've been watching lots of Star Wars, as I've kind of mentioned elsewhere, but different eras of Star Wars. I've gone back to the Holy Trilogy, right? Holy Trinity.
Hmm.
I've watched all three, but the one I want to talk about most is Return of the Jedi. Um,
Okay.
really like this film.
Yeah.
It's a little underrated, and I can understand why people put it third of the original because, well, Empire is clearly the best of the three
Yeah.
films, right? And Star Wars is how it all started, so it's hard to put it anywhere
Mm.
but at least second. But which is the only reason Return is third. I mean, I really like this. The Ewoks never bother me. They do bother some people, right?
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Other than the fact they're kind of vicious little monsters that could eat people, right? That's
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I have to say the cross cutting in the third act is magnificent between you know the
Mm.
Emperor and Luke and Darth Vader and the sort of rebels trying to blow up the base, and then probably the weakest but still super exciting the space
Yeah.
battle trying to blow up the Death Star. Trying to get into
Yeah.
that. It's all so well choreographed and just works magnificently.
Mm.
I really enjoy it. I like. Well, I don't know. I kind of like it, but it's funny how Han Solo's a bit of a goof in this. Honestly, some of the expressions on his face remind me of Al Bundy in this film.
Well, yeah.
He pulls funny faces when weird
Yeah.
things
Because
happen.
the thing is, like, as far as I'm aware, uh, Harrison Ford wanted Han Solo to die at the end of Empire Strikes Back. So he
Okay.
just kind of plays him however he wants to from that moment on.
Yeah.
That's why he's just a kind of a weirdo, incidentally doing things in this
Yeah.
film.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's a real joy in. I mean, and also the fact it's a film of two parts. I mean, apart from that middle section,
Yeah.
it's essentially Jabba and then Endor, right? That's
Mm.
essentially it. The Jabba stuff's great and very, very Flash Gordon,
Yeah. Very
very
active.
Flash Gordon, and really fun and
Mm.
enjoyable. And then, but the only thing is, Boba Fett does really go out like a punk. It's such a shame.
Yeah.
But they kind of did the same in the modern movie with Phasma, didn't they? It's kind of,
Yeah.
come on, let's do something
I'd
else.
say this one has the best use of, I guess, the hero version of the theme. Because whenever there's like some action scene, it's like "Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da,"
Yeah,
when
yeah,
Luke gets his green lightsaber for the first time,
yeah, yeah,
and they
yeah.
start that whole fight starts. That's the best one of that in this trilogy.
And the
This is
nodded,
the best.
the tense, duh, duh, as he's on the plank and like nods to
Yeah,
R2 and Han Solo's like, what's going on? And
yeah,
all of this.
yeah,
But also Jabba's palace is kind of wonderful too. But very,
yeah,
very Flash Gordon, right? Um, but then obviously there's that other bit where they're sort of talking about the plan,
yeah.
the
They're going over the plans. Many Bothans.
but also go and see Yoda, and Yoda.
Yeah, got to swing back and see Yoda one last time.
Yoda dying because he's so bored of Luke's questions. I think.
Well, see, the thing is, you say that, but his death scene is basically Luke, do this thing for me. Okay, rolls
And
back up.
do this thing.
Luke, Luke, you need to do this thing as well. Okay, Yoda.
I mean,
Luke. It's like,
the thing I enjoy most in that scene is he says, "So I am a Jedi," and Yoda's like, "Oh."
yeah, Yoda just starts laughing at him. So
But yeah, I really like the iconography, the look of that scene in the Emperor's room with the red
mm,
guards and the music. That music is so
yeah,
good. It's probably apart from the clear main themes. I mean, really like Duel of the Fates from
mm,
Phantom Menace, but the ominous
yeah, yeah.
music is amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, Return of the Jedi is a top tier film.
yeah.
It's really exciting. I really enjoy it. And it holds up quite well as well.
Okay.
Back to you.
Yeah, so my next one is actually a documentary series that I've started watching. In lieu of watching the new Walking with Dinosaurs, which was bad.
Yeah, it was
So
great.
I saw someone do a breakdown. So you've watched Walking with Dinosaurs before. It's about a
Yeah,
half hour, pure dinosaurs. Like it's interesting, teaches you a lot. New Walking with Dinosaurs, 50 minutes. maybe half of which will be dinosaurs. So statistically, we're
I
already
don't.
on less dinosaurs.
I don't think there's even half his dinosaurs.
So I saw someone do a breakdown where they split it into and then sort of compressed it, and there's less
Okay.
dinosaur footage than in a single episode of this. But
Wow.
what I'd heard was a better one had been made a couple of years ago, and called Prehistoric Planet. Now, this is a Apple TV Plus exclusive one. It was made in cooperation with BBC. It's made a lot like Walking with Dinosaurs in that it's live action, like backgrounds and terrain, with CGI dinosaurs being overlaid. And what I think is a lot of like, there's some. The CGI is good enough that it's reached a point where I can't tell if it's a just a full CGI model, a practical effect that's been enhanced by CGI, or just a practical effect.
Yeah.
It's like that
So
sort of
good. Yeah.
quality.
How'd you find it anyway? How you finding the
It's
series?
really good. It's narrated by David Attenborough as well, so
Well,
that
that
kind of
helps. That
escalates it a
helps.
lot.
Yeah.
And instead of being like focused on like an era of like the dinosaurs, so normally what you do is you rotate through. It's like you do the timeline really. You hit the Triassic, the early
Triassic,
with
Jurassic,
stuff,
Cretaceous.
Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous. You hit some of the sort of biomes in there.
Yeah.
This sticks so far. It's entirely to the Cretaceous,
Yeah.
and it sticks around, goes to different sort of environments. So, for example, the first one is coastal. So you get to see a swimming T-Rex.
That sounds
So,
great. That sounds like a really good premise.
yeah, there's like T-Rex is swimming to islands. You get to see some of the sea creatures like mosasaurs. You get to see some pterosaurs, including ones you don't really hear about, like Barbadactyl, which has a weird crest if you look it up. And then yeah, it's like here's what they do. Here's their breeding habits. Here's the thing of a mosasaur getting cleaned by fish, like sharks do.
Like
Uh,
pilot for yeah, like
yeah,
Remora's Clean Sharks. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
great. That sounds really good.
It is really fun. I've watched
I ain't
four episodes so far, and
I
they're all
ain't
really fun.
surprised because everything I hear about Apple TV, and I've watched it a bit. In fact,
Yeah,
I've just realised that I subscribe now, and I
yeah,
keep
that's how I'm
forgetting.
watching it.
Yeah. Every almost almost every show they do, there's someone out there that loves it, which is a
Hmm.
great. Ted Lasso was really good, right?
Yes,
But
Ted
there's
Lasso's
apparently
amazing.
there's a show called Foundation that's meant to be really good. Things like that.
Yeah, I think that's based on like a book
Severance.
series.
Yeah, it's Asimov. I've read the first book.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I keep forgetting I've got Apple TV. I need to watch it more. I need to watch it. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Prehistoric Planet. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's doing it properly compared
yeah.
to
It's
the.
been done properly. It's as I say, David Attenborough as the narrator, John Favreau as the showrunner.
Okay.
So it's how weird and stilted the newer quote unquote live action Disney films are. It's like it's up to a quality where they don't have character design really.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's that sort of thing. Where it's like, oh, this just kind of looks real.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. Okay. That sounds good. Yeah.
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. Cool. My next one is just out in the cinemas. I'm not going to spoil it. And I know you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see it, which is
Mm,
the new Superman film. Um, I enjoyed it quite a lot. It was quite a step up from the Snyder versions of Superman,
mm,
though I do like the Justice League thing he did. Um,
yeah,
but this James Gunn, right? I mean, I
yeah,
really enjoyed his Suicide Squad, the second Suicide Squad film, and I really, really enjoyed the Peacemaker TV series.
mm,
And Superman is as enjoyable. It's just nice that he presents Superman as a big old Boy Scout who wants to help people
yeah,
and protect people, because that's what Superman is,
yeah,
right? And there's some interesting other choices, and there's also other characters from the DC universe within the film that is kind of fun and really interesting to see, and not, in no small part quite significant to the plot. Um,
yeah.
but what I will say is, when you watch it, and I wasn't quite keyed into this until getting to the second half. I think there's an awful lot going on in the background all the time. Uh,
Mm,
Not in the regular day to day, in Daily Planet offices kind of stuff, though there might be. But I think what I did notice more and more stuff going on in the background as the film went on, to the point I was cracking up at some of the things you might not even notice, right?
Mm.
So there is that to watch out. It's not a great film, but it's really good. I
Yeah,
really enjoyed it. I'd say 8 out of 10 kind of film.
yeah,
And I did like the presentation of Superman in this. And they obviously bring a load of shit in from the comics that I don't even know. Some of it I do, and it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely from the comics. But there's
yeah,
like certain characters and certain things I don't know from Adam.
yeah,
But you just think, well, that must be in the comics because it's just too strange to put in a film like this
yeah,
on its own, right? So I think
yeah.
the more you know about the comics, the more you'll enjoy it, maybe, right?
Yeah, something I've heard about this film, and it's kind of how it's kind of like made me understand Superman a bit more. Is like this is a film that this is a Superman that the Iron Giant would believe in.
Yes, yes,
So it's like,
absolutely. That's a
yes,
really
that
good way
makes
of
more
putting it.
that's way a
Yeah,
great way of putting it.
yeah. This is
Because
a proper
yeah,
old school Superman.
yeah,
His temperament, his willingness to help people. He really goes out of
yeah,
his way to protect everyone. Um,
yeah.
and that is
People
important.
say Superman's boring, but it's like Superman is an incredible benchmark to weigh a person by, because
Yeah,
given absolute power and like invincibility, he helps.
yeah.
Like
I also
unflappably, he helps everyone. There's no this fucking hiding like in Snyder. It's like, oh, you
no,
should have
no,
let those people
no,
die. No, no,
no, no,
that's
no, no,
stupid.
no. I really like how some of it was presented, and we don't. Well, there's no. This is not. Might be a spoiler. I don't think it matters. Straight away. There's no origin story. He's just there, right? He's just there doing
Okay,
his
good.
stuff.
Yeah,
And it gets on with business, which is great. I am trying to think if there's any. I want to be careful. Like I
yeah,
say, watch out for stuff
I,
in the background.
yeah.
There's some
I,
stuff near the end with. No, I'm not going to say it, but there's some
yeah.
stuff going on that's hilarious in the
Yeah.
background, and if you're not paying attention, you'd miss it.
I will
Right?
say one of my favorite bits from the trailers is just that it's Clark and Lois are just sort of sitting there prepping for doing an interview as Superman,
Yeah.
and they're just talking, and then she goes, "Okay, so Superman," and he just like leans in a little, and his voice completely changes. He just goes, "Miss Lane." It's like that's Superman. That
Yes, yes, I got it right.
yeah,
They tend to cast Superman well. I like Henry Cavill's casting. It's
yeah,
how it was executed was terrible. I really like Brandon Roth in Batman in Superman Returns as
yeah,
Superman. Just didn't like how that was executed.
yeah,
So they tend to cast Superman well. It's just the execution, and this
mm,
is nice and refreshing. And I'm glad that James Gunn's involved. So
hmm,
it was nice. I'm glad I went to see it. I like the crypto stuff, and he's in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler, right?
yeah.
It's fun. It really
Crypto
is
and the
fun.
Superman robots.
Uh,
So
oh, you know about that too, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
again, they're in
Yeah.
the trailer. So.
Yeah. Again, I assume they're in the comics. I didn't know about these things. I've got to be honest.
Yeah,
So yeah.
he's got like whole. They are in the Man of Steel,
Oh,
uh,
I didn't really. I can't remember.
like, but they kind of look like weird bug things,
Yeah. Okay.
so
All
you
right.
kind of glaze over
Yeah.
them.
I'm sure you'll enjoy it anyway. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah. Okay, so my next one, kind of, sort of put on by watching Prehistoric Planet, and sort of by the announcement of a new part of the series. I have been playing Jurassic World Evolution 2, which is a park building game that's on PC and most of the consoles. I think it's only Switch really that it's not part of. And it's a park building game in the Jurassic Park franchise, where you have to essentially do it right. Now it's sort of a thing of two parts. So sometimes, yes, you are making a park. You're playing on one of what's called the Chaos Theory maps, where you are essentially doing the films but right. So
Yeah.
like there's always some sort of swerve in the plot of the film that makes it so that your situation is happening. So for example, in the first one, Dennis Nedry does not get hired. Wayne Knight is not part of the staff. So you
Good.
do not have to
Good.
contend with that. The second one takes place instead of just shipping the T-Rex and the baby T-Rex to San Diego, they shipped them all. They shipped loads of dinosaurs to San
Yeah.
Diego.
So
So you got to
mayhem
very
in San
quickly build
Diego.
up. You got to very quickly
Okay.
build a park to contain them all. But the other part of that is there's animal conservation because this was released around the time of Jurassic World Dominion, which at that point in the overall plot, the dinosaurs are just out there. They're all over the world now.
Yeah.
And it's less about building a theme park versus building an area where these animals can safely be studied.
Yeah.
So you're not building park attractions and like concession stands. You're building research labs and things that can do all this, that, and the other,
Yeah.
while also going out and tranquilizing and retrieving dinosaurs so that
Yeah.
they can be studied.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really good. This one introduced from building up from the previous one. It introduced aquatic and flying dinosaurs. Well, reptiles, but because they're not technically dinosaurs. But yeah, it's a really good game. I do recommend it.
Okay, that sounds all right. Yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan of like park build,
Yeah,
things
and they
like
did. They just announced a new one.
theme park.
yeah.
What's it called? I can't remember now. Roller coaster type.
Roller Coaster Tycoon. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But
And
yeah, it
Zoo
looks
Tycoon.
good. I was looking at the graphics for this. Are you playing it on the PlayStation or
I'm
PC?
playing it on PC.
PC.
So yeah, play it like that.
Okay. Okay, my last one is also a game that I
Mm-hmm.
am very heavily immersed in at the minute. I'm not doing any other games while I'm playing this, and it is Dune Awakening. And you calls this is your fault
Yeah, we watched the video
because
on it.
you just put on a video of flubs and people, getting eaten by worms and it all
Yeah,
going wrong. And I thought that looks kind of cool. Then I watched the videos, bought the game, and I haven't really stopped playing it since, right? And it's been about 3 or 4 weeks. I'm kind of medium to late end game now,
yeah,
and I've soloed it. Now this is a MMO, a massive. What do they call it? Massively
massively multiplayer online.
online. So you're basically on Dune. It's a parallel timeline. So on the planet of Arrakis, there's Atreides, but there's also Harkonnens, and they've got like an uneasy truce, but they're kind of a bit of Cold War going on, there's stuff going on. But things like Fufa Howard, Peter DeVry, Duncan Idaho, the Duke, they're all in it. And the trailer sets up this awesome premise, which is the different timeline, which is this, right? Lady Jessica did not have a son, she had a daughter. Because of that, the Bene Gesserit kept her much closer into the sisterhood, trained her to be a truth slayer. Because of that, she saw through Dr. Yue's deception and stopped the attack, right? Stopped it even before it even started. That's why it's a different timeline. So that's all interesting, right? And in this world, the Fremen have kind of disappeared. But there's still sort of holy, what's it? Artifacts. Ancient artifacts about the Fremen that are being uncovered and stuff like that. So you exist in this world, and basically you start with nothing. I mean, literally nothing. A pair of pants and a knife. I don't think you're going to have that. And then you've got to slowly build up. And each turn, you're building up a different era, different set of skills. So you start with a knife. You're basically shivving people that attack you and draining their blood as a source of water, which goes back to a water purifying plant that you've built from rocks and plants, right? And then you're slowly getting better weapons. You're getting better tech. You're getting better ways of moving around. You're getting more complex. Basically, it's like Factorio. In that you're putting together lots of different things to make better things to help you get to the next stage, right? So you start with nothing. The next thing is you get a speeder bike, and this takes hours of play to get to that point. The next thing is a buggy. Well, you can do it in different orders. A buggy, which means you got a much heavier vehicle for helping you drill out minerals and stuff. So your yields are way bigger. And all the time you got to be careful of the open desert because of worms. There's worms, right? And then after that, you start getting different versions of ornithopters, which is awesome. They really nailed it. What I will say about the game is they know their Dune stuff. I know Dune stuff. I have immersed myself in Dune stuff for years. And I don't just mean the 4 books. I mean, there's like encyclopedias that you can't get anymore that Frank Herbert did, right? And it's all there. Everything's there. They're not missed a beat. I mean, the sand bikes are a bit goofy, right? But that's
Yeah,
just it's a different timeline, so fair enough.
yeah,
But the the history of the Fremen, the history of Bene Gesserit, the Bene Talax, all there. It's all there. It's amazing how accurate and true to the books it is. So that's a thrill. And it's a fun game. However, it's janky in the way MMOs are janky, It looks a
yeah,
bit jerky at points. The fighting is terrible compared to something like COD. You're kind of just mashing buttons and hoping you're going to shiv someone. There is
yeah.
shield fighting, so there's shields
Okay.
in this. So it
Yeah,
is knives mostly. You can use shooting weapons, but you got to use things that penetrate shields, or you can snipe people before they turn the shields on. There's things like that. And you can learn different skill sets, like more Bene Gesserit skills, or more Swordmaster skills, or more planetology skills. So you're much more in tune with the planet, so which makes you a better, I don't know, rock climber, better at harvesting water, things like that, right? Yeah, really enjoyed it. I could go on about it for an hour, so I'm going to stop here. But yeah, it's my first MMO, and I'm really digging it. Late game sucks a bit. But I think this is going to evolve to be better. Essentially, the late game is super difficult for solos because to gather these resources, you've got to go into what's called the deep desert, which half is safe for PvE. It's PvE only, so people can't fight. But half of it is PvP, and all the good stuff's in the PvP areas. And there's guilds out there. There's legions of, there's 10 guys all working together. And if they see ya, they're probably going to kill you, right? However, because it's an MMO, there's a relatively easy way to just come back into the game. You just got
yeah,
to be careful about what you're carrying, because some of your stuff you don't lose, some you do. So basically, when I go into the deep desert, into the scary places, I carry as little as possible in the bit that can be raided. So
yeah.
if they kill me, I basically don't lose anything.
Mhm.
As long as you lose big stuff if you're not careful. But yeah, really enjoy it. It's a bit of a time sink because the world goes on while you're not in it, right? So you got to make sure your base has got enough fuel to keep running while you're away. Because if the shields go down, it could then get raided by anyone. Things like that, right? But loads of missions, loads of things to do. Really, I'd say even if you didn't like the last stage, which is like stage six, I'd say the first five are great, and it's constantly evolving and changing. So yeah, really enjoyable.
Okay.
To you,
Yeah. So my final one is actually going to be fairly short because it's a just kind of a cooperative multiplayer game called Peak. Now the premise is that you are four. You can mod it to be more, but at the moment the actual base game maximum is four people playing as scouts who have survived a plane crash, and you got to climb up a hill, massive mountain, sorry, in order to light a flare so that you can call in a rescue chopper.
and you got to co-op the climb, right?
Yeah, so you've got there's a lot of like gameplay, like built-in gameplay stuff to facilitate that. So for example, if you got someone that's climbed up ahead and has made it to stable ground, but you've got someone that's struggling to climb, the person that's ahead can put their hand out and pull the person that's struggling up. Like they can
Great.
just like assist them. There's loads of tools for like lowering ropes. There's even some fun weird things that you can find, such as anti-ropes, which hang upwards. So yeah.
What you need is a whistle to play. Like you're a charmer, snake
Oh,
charmer.
you start with the trumpet. So
Okay.
you can. It doesn't do anything aside from make noise, but you do start with the trumpet.
You start with a
Uh,
charmer. Okay.
and yeah, it's just a fun. Most of the like fun of it is playing with people. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
a
playing
social.
alongside
It
your
feels like a
friends.
social game, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
social. It's not a. Sounds like it'd be really boring solo.
Yeah, there is a whole thing about it, and there's a fun thing where the in-game achievements are scout badges that stay on your character.
Oh,
So next time you
nice.
play, your like bandolier of
So you
badges
could, you
is
could,
has more on it.
yeah,
So
basically, you could have a sleeve of cool stuff you've done, right?
yeah,
Okay, that sounds great. Was it? I think I saw that on sale recently on the Steam.
Yes, it only recently came out, but
Okay.
yeah, you can probably find it on sale.
Yeah, yeah. This Dune Awakening was on sale recently for like 13 quid, which was
Mm.
amazing considering it's 40. But it was only for like a day and then it went straight back up again.
Yeah,
I must have got a flood. But I do believe it's one of those games. It's a bit like No Man's Sky. It's just going to evolve to get better rather than stay crap. They've already changed it because apparently most of the desert was PvP in the first few weeks. And I never got to that point. But then they announced half of it was going to become friendly. Unfortunately, there's very little in the friendly area that's worth having. So you've got basically you have to fly across a massive desert to get to the good stuff. So I'm not sure that's better. Frankly, I'm not really sure. At least in the old version, you didn't have to go so far into the desert, though you could probably get ganked there and everything. And apparently, people hang around in certain spots that are PvP. And if you go into a ship, basically all the shipwrecks are PvP. Even in any part of the game, a shipwreck is PvP, right?
okay, yeah,
So you're only going to shipwrecks at your own peril, right? But apparently, three blokes will be waiting around for someone to turn up to
yeah,
gank them as quickly as possible. Is that? Well, that's just bullying. But yeah,
yeah,
okay. Yeah. So I avoid those, frankly.
yeah,
There's no point. But because there's lots of areas with good stuff which isn't PvP, you just have a bit of fun, and everyone kind of co-ops in those areas because there's still loads of rock hard bots in those areas, so you're actually fighting together against the bots who are super tough. So that makes it a nice change, kind of thing.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, I've got about my game again, so I'll shut up.
yeah,
Yeah, all right. We'll wind up there. That was good. That was good. I know
yeah,
it's nice to get back to this format. We talk about stuff much more deeply. I think. All right then. So, bye from me.
Bye.